Army SMU perspective here. Just Coach Ellison, if you just can make an opening statement about being in the bowl game, just the preparation for the bowl game, and maybe you got a prediction.
Well, no, but no, we've had a wonderful week, and you know, can't thank Mr. Ringler and his people enough, and we will be thanking them all day. But our guys had a wonderful experience. I think we didn't have any institutional memory in terms of how to handle our bowl preparation, given the rigors of academy life, especially as we went into our finals, and then being respectful of our guys' leave, and yet making sure that we were going to be as ready as we could possibly be to play on Thursday. And I think we nailed it. I was really impressed with how our guys practiced as we kept them a little bit after tees or after their finals, and then got back here in time to have what would normally be a Tuesday practice for us, and clearly they hadn't forgotten much in a little over a week. And again, I feel that we're in a great place both mentally and physically, and we know what to do. So again, if I had, you know, hindsight's 20/20, but if I had it all to do over again, this is essentially this. I like the schedule we chose for ourselves. I like the way this has worked out. I think we've given ourselves a chance to play well.
Coach Jones?
Well, we're very appreciative of the opportunity to come to Fort Worth and thank Bell Helicopter and the volunteers. The week has been exciting and great for our kids. The experience is something that helps you build your program. Just like for Rich, the experience of the kids that were here will remember it and carry it on to the new guys that join up next year, just like our guys will do the same. But it's you know, been a great week. All the events have been first class, and it's just been a real great opportunity to bring your team and have fun. And our kids have practiced really hard. They've stayed really focused, and it's been you know, I've said this numerous times. I always had a kind of a passion to coach in an academy like Rich did too, and at the same time, I always felt that since I got here to SMU, my kids have that same integrity and character and want to, that shows on film whenever we play Navy, or now we're going to play Army and watching Air Force. So it's, you know, we're excited about the chance to go play. A lot of people will be watching the game, and it's going to be great for both the schools to get that exposure.
For each of you, is it a joy to play with nice weather tomorrow compared to playing in 30-degree weather? Coach Ellison?
Well, yeah, I think this is, again, June was just telling me that don't trust the weather. If you don't like it, it may change. But no, obviously, it sounds like we're gonna nail it from a weather standpoint. The weather will not be an issue. It'll be a great day for everybody there, the teams that are competing and the people that are there to watch. It's going to be a great afternoon.
What you want to add?
Well, I just said I'm really excited because the fans will come when it's nice, and you know, we're excited to see that stadium full. I do believe that we'll be the minority. The Armed Forces brings a lot of people when they come play, and it'll be a great challenge, and it'll be fun to see the stadium full.
Coach Ellison, has there been any surprises for you as one player, because you had this extra practice time? Has there been players that have kind of come to the forefront, some younger kids, or any surprises?
Not really. Frankly, it's been because of the way the season worked out there. We're less than 3 weeks from our last game, so frankly, it's been more of like a bye week and less like a postseason bowl game. We haven't had a lot of those developmental practices that people talk about that they associate with bowl games. Having said that, we've given ourselves a great chance to be healthy, fresh, and excited to play.
I echo the same thing. We had a game the championship game, Conference USA, which this will be, I think, our 14th game. I lost track, but you know, it's a long season, and I felt the same way when we went to finals. It was kind of like a bye week that was much needed, and our kids have maintained their concentration very well.
Coach Jones, is kind of surprising to have a running back that's rushed over 100 yards a game for your team. Usually it's mostly the passing.
Well, you know, I think that we like, ideally we like, you know, to throw the football, but at the same time, over the years, we have been able to run the ball pretty effectively. Zach's done a great job of it this year, and our line's made the commitment to to do it also. You know, when you have a young quarterback, you tend to rely on that a little bit more, and Zach has been the beneficiary of it. I thought last year Sean did a really nice job for us too, but Zach kind of is the prototype guy that we like, that can block you know, a linebacker or a down guy and can run the football with some quickness too.
Coach Ellison, did you anticipate that he'd have a great running back when he came here?
Well, I'm not surprised that he has a great running back. I'm surprised sometimes that he uses it as liberally as he does. I think it's always been a part of the offense. And again, I don't mean to, I'm just telling him how defensive people look at you, and I'm not going to tell you who he is. But you know, there are times you see SMU run the football just because they want to run the football. Typically, I would think that having grown up with June, I suspect that if it's 50-50, he's going to throw it. And that's not necessarily been the case, which from a defensive perspective keeps you a little bit more out of some of the more exotic things you might get into in either or downs. You have to play a little bit straighter, which I suspect is his motivation. You can speak to that.
Okay, open up the floor. We have a gentleman here with the mic, so if you could just ask your question to the mic, because we'll be having a transcript that we'll send out to everybody. So any questions from the floor?
June, I have to ask, can you talk about your decision to consider another job opportunity and then ultimately not pursue it?
Well, you know, that happens, those things happen when you have success, and you know, that wasn't the first time this year, it wasn't probably not going to be the last time when I'm at SMU. I'm committed to being here. My concentration has totally been on this football game. Probably like Rich, you're up at, you know, I was up at 4 in the morning today, and you go to bed late at night, just totally focused on what you're doing. But that's part of the business we're in right now, and you know, I'm pleased and happy with where I am. I made a commitment to my kids, and that's why I'm here.
June, as you said, you made a commitment to be here. Talk about where you feel like you are with this program. Obviously, in 3 years, you've got it to 2 straight bowl games, and things are seemingly on the uprise.
Well, I feel like we have made strides. Obviously, you know, last year's team. If you'd asked me if we were going to win 8 games, no. If we're lucky enough to win this game, you know, that'll make 8 wins, and I'll say the same thing. You know, you never feel like you're where you need to be. We're still, I think, a recruiting class and a half away from being real competitive in the echelon that we would like to be. I'm sure Rich would answer the question the same way. They play teams because of who they are that are a little bit out of their league, like we do the same thing. And to be able to compete, you have to be at the school, and you have to make the commitment, and you have to be successful recruiting. And that's the name of the game.
I would think, Coach Ellison, with this being Texas and the hotbed of high school football, are you looking forward to this opportunity to forward your program, you know, get more kids from Texas?
Well, we have a national mandate. We recruit nationally, of course, but I have 2 guys that are dedicated to recruit just in the state of Texas. And so this exposure, this may, again, just those young men will look at this game, look at this stage that we're going to step onto, and say, hey, maybe they'll ask a few more questions. They'll spend a little more time reflecting on the opportunity that West Point presents and the challenges that West Point presents. And as a result, some guys that ultimately they have to belong here. They have to. This has to be a great fit. But as I said, some of those young men that might not have otherwise considered it, may consider it and find exactly what they're looking for. And to that end, yes, I can see this being a very positive thing for the region.
June, talking about where your program is and building it, do you have the tools and the support system in place that you need to take this program to the next level?
You're always growing that. I feel very comfortable that all the things that have been addressed from the time I got here. You know, the reason you get a job that has never been to a bowl game in 25 years, or the reason I got a job in Hawaii, is because things aren't quite up to par. I mean, that's why you get the jobs, and it's your job to get them straightened out and to get them going. And I feel with Steve, I feel comfortable with Dr. Turner's commitment. We're making progress in that way, and I visualize that all coming together over the next 3 or 4 years. Yes.
Coach Ellerson, I think the last time Army was in a bowl, I don't know if there were bowls that were military specific or had military initiatives attached to them. Can you talk about the first time in a long time that you guys get to one, how this has fit?
Oh, it's especially appropriate that as Army football returns to postseason play, we find ourselves in the Armed Forces Bowl. The Bell Helicopter people, John's done a wonderful job of keeping the focus, making the emphasis on our men and women in uniform, and this is a tribute to them. And our guys are ever mindful of that, and they bring that with them. And I think the events yesterday, where we had cadets at the hospital greeting soldiers coming back, that they came back glowing. That was not something. That was not a chore for them. That was an honor for them. That was something that they brought back to their teammates and reflected on. Hey, that was a glimpse of their futures. That was a glimpse of the challenge that lies before them, the community that they serve. So, as I say, we're excited to be in postseason play, period, but especially excited and feel like it's especially appropriate that we're here.
With the history of the two of you guys, obviously Dick Tony gave you both your first coaching jobs. I know you guys were on the same coaching staff at one time, but you were teammates for a year. Rich, I guess you were a center and June was a quarterback. How many snaps do you think you've made to this guy? And tell me what kind of quarterback you really was.
See, I was when June was, I was a linebacker. I was staring him down, and I never turned my back on him. So no, it was when I went from being too slow to play to being way too slow to play that I became a center. And when June and I actually competed against each other, but that's not necessarily true either, because I was playing center those years. But we've remained friends, and I've been a huge fan of his, whether he was playing or coaching through the years. So.
Before we get that question, I'm going to ask one, and someone asked me, how have you enjoyed the practice facilities here? We're talking about Texas football. June, you want to
The University of Centennial was beautiful. I've never seen high school facilities like that before. I haven't been to Europe where you practice, but I think a brand new school, and they only have freshmen and sophomores right now, and it's worth moving into the area, I can tell you that.
We have some spectacular infrastructure at West Point, but most of my staff, myself, most of our staff, we come from Cal Poly, and holy cow, it's not close. So again, it speaks to some of the comments that I think Brent made earlier, just how important football is to the culture of Texas, and don't be surprised.
back room?
Question for Coach Ellerson. Coach, instilling that this should become the normal expectation for your program is something, now only in your second year, it's something you wanted to bring to West Point when you took the job. Could you talk about the challenge of instilling that culture of this should be the norm, we should expect this?
Well, gosh, we could talk for a long time about the challenge in voice. June talked about the challenge of taking over a civilian institution and the ability to redirect and choose a path for themselves. I think the challenge at West Point's a little bit different. West Point's not going to move for us. West Point works. West Point's doing its job. All you have to do is go look at our young graduates are doing, and you can say, wow, whatever else it does, it works. So they're not going to necessarily bend over backwards to accommodate me. The emphasis is on, for me, to find a way to operate within that larger culture, larger institutional mission. We are absolutely, the role of the football program at West Point is integral to the larger institutional mission. We are developing leaders of character. It is a team-building leadership laboratory, and we'll approach it as such, and that allows us now not to be a timeout or to be, we don't have to fight for time to do our business, because our business is, again, everything that they're experiencing as cadets, every challenge that they overcome, every developmental experience and challenges thrown in front of them, we can leverage it on the football side as well. And that's been the difference. I think our guys have bought into that belief system that, hey, we're not going to be good part of the day at West Point, we're going to be good all day at West Point. And all those things that we experience throughout the day, we're going to leverage when we get to the football environment. And our guys' willingness to embrace that, and that's just a sales job. And frankly, I think, and I looked at this senior class and some of the guys that you're going to have in the back of the room, because those guys had to make an intellectual choice. They were far enough along in their careers when I got there, when I was selling this stuff, that they had to make that intellectual choice that, okay, it sounds good, let's do it, and make it their own. And then when they did that, it became so much easier for the younger players. And then obviously we recruit to that now. And so that cultural shift that had to take place, that precondition for success that was so pivotal, frankly, it's on these guys, the senior class. So give it to those guys. They did all the hard work. They had to make that leap of faith, if you will.
We know that you're recruiting nationwide, but do you think that making a bowl game this year helps you recruit against the other military academies better now that you've entered the bowl game?
I don't know that. I think, as I say, I believe that the kind of exposure that all three of the service academies are getting, because all of us are playing in bowl games, will put that maybe on the radars of some young men that might not otherwise thought about that possibility. Then it's up to us, the coaches, to articulate and educate those young men about who we are, what this path is, and where it leads. And then they self-select. You know, you don't go to West Point to play football. Okay, football is a great part of that experience, and it may bring you to consider West Point. But what we preach is you have to be into the destination. You have to be into what happens when you graduate, who you become, what the kind of responsibilities and challenges that you're going to face. And if that's you, then all those other things at West Point make great sense. The football makes sense, the academics make sense, the challenges and developmental, how your summers go, all those things start to make sense. If you come for any of those other things, and that's in the middle of your bullseye, I suspect there's a chance you're going to be frustrated. You know, some guys will work out, but again, to keep the percentages right, I think the way we recruit and the way we retain guys are inexorably tied together. And that's, so again, yes, I think the success that we've all had are going to bring some more people to the table that might not have otherwise considered it.
For both of you guys, it's been a good year academically too. Both you folks got recognized, didn't you, by with what, 75% or higher? Can you address anything about that, Jude?
Well, we worked really hard. We had a lot of different types of kids coming into our program, and the academic support has improved every year, and so the results will start to obviously show. You know, I feel all of our kids are coming to get their degree, and even though you know, Rich's description right there of Army, if he had recruited me, I would have been at Army, I can tell you that, with what he just said right there. And obviously, we have to do those same things academically and as life skills and all those things to build these men, because so few of them are going to go on to play in the National Football League and football be their life. They have to understand that, and the importance of education is vital.
Having said that, Coach Jones has a son who's a senior in high school, and I would hope that he take that message home with him.
Okay, any more questions?
Can you talk about how you think the perception of SMU has changed over recent years? Obviously, everybody knows about, you know, the Pony Express and then what happened with the death penalty. And everybody's kind of been reminded of it recently with the ESPN thing. But how have you seen things change in the couple of years you do? And how important is it to see a prize like you're having?
Well, it's I think benefits everybody. The academia part of the school, applications have gone up just as our success. We've walked through airports with our SMU on and get stopped. And where is SMU? Where is that? What does that stand for? Just the recent replay over and over, probably 15, 20 times on ESPN of the 30 for 30, and they won't ask that question anymore. You know, I think that the success of your football program, and I've never said this before, but I heard Rich say it right, that there is a difference, a civilian institution, a private institution. The success of your athletic program benefits everybody. Butler's applications, when they went to the Final Four, went through the roof. Same things happened at SMU. And as we have more success, they won't ask, where is SMU anymore?
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Coach Ellison,
Sir.
when you recruited an athlete and he said he doesn't cut the mustard, does he still stay at the institute? Right.
We recruit to the academy first. You know, and that's guys is, and I think Jim will tell you, when you're recruiting guys that are 17, 18 years old, things happen, and you know, they love football, Wait a minute, you guys are crazy. I mean, I like football, but you guys, you know, so there's, everybody adjusts fire as they go along, and we find out, the beautiful thing about West Point is, if you love the game of football, you're going to get a chance to play. You know, we have our A team, if you will. We have a B squad, which is our JV program. We have sprint football, which is 170-pound football, and every company at West Point, every company sponsors 8-man tackle football. So if you want to, knock somebody down and get money, you got a chance.
Have you ever found a recruit out of that league?
You know, I haven't, but there are some great stories about exactly that. One of our great stories, Black, right, fullback, subback, came out of that 8-man football world. Coach Young was there, and I think led the team for 3 years. He was the guy that never lost a yard, and that was one of those things where our commandant saw this and went to Coach Young and said, "Hey, you got to go look at this guy." And the commandant was a former Army football player and knew what he was looking at and son of a gun. So never say never, always forever.
Is that a violation of the
I think he can recruit in tournament. I probably, now that you mention it, probably.
No. Does anybody have the NCAA handbook here?
Coach Young would never.
Okay, any other questions? If not, ask the two coaches to come down in front for a photo opportunity. Then they'll be available for one-on-ones. If the SIDs can get their players, Army, the far end of the hall, and SMU here, available to talk.